Welcome to Creatively Eccentric. I'm your host, Heather Ebanks, and I hope you've been enjoying the last two episodes. The realities of doing a podcast, that's very interesting. I don't mind actually doing the podcast itself, recording it, etc. But it's finding the right time of the day. It's also interesting. If you're watching on YouTube, you could probably see that I have a nice shelf in the background and it's a nice setup, but there's light coming in through the window. And the reason why there's light coming through the window is because I have two kittens which we've adopted over the summer. I'm looking at them now. They're very boisterous. So they're going to be making noise in the background, trying to get them entertained and keep them busy, but it's not going to happen. So I needed to get this recording done. So let's see what the results are with the two kittens. Bold voices, yeah. What is your bold voice? What's your messy journey? And what are you unapologetic about being a creative? That's one of the questions I ask my guests on the podcast. I hope you've had a chance to listen to some of the episodes, and there's a few more to come. And also decided to do bonus episodes, so it's worth following to hear those episodes because I've got a few ideas up my sleeve. I want to hear from you. I definitely want to do more interviews and conversations and chats with creatives. The reason why I'm doing this bonus episode is to talk about bold voices, messy journeys, and zero apologies. Now, I know bold voices could be interpreted in many ways. It could be attitude, it could be disrespectful, and some people might say. But when I say bold voices, I also think about it's important to speak how you want to through your work, through your creativity. And it could be in colors, it could be in expression, it could be through your culture, it could be in many ways. So bold voices not necessarily have an attitude or be kind of shouting at the top of your lungs. Talking about what you're passionate about and not being quiet about it and expressing that in any way. It could be through music, it could be through your artwork, it could be through what you're writing, it could be through how you express yourself, through your appearance as well. So I think bold voice can be done in many different ways, and it'd be interesting to know what you think. Now, the messy journey side of things, it's an interesting one because I think a lot of people don't go through their career and through their life in a linear way. Definitely, I haven't, as you probably heard in episode one. It was a bit of a roller coaster. And if you're a creative, you know there's so many different ways you can be a creative. Some people it's straightforward and some people it's not. And I think a lot more of the latter. Follow your path and find out exactly why you do what you do. You probably realize you've gone through a lot through your career and it's not easy to find out why you do what you do. But when you sit back and then you contemplate and you think, yeah, I've actually done it in an interesting way and a more complicated way. One thing I loved about episode one, when I talked to my friend Rosia, was that I didn't plan it. I didn't have the questions or it's mapped out. I wanted it to be honest and just talking about our life before the jobs that we're doing today and also our careers, also how we met. But it was interesting that I didn't know which direction the conversation was going to go. I didn't know that I was going to go into the conversations about the unfortunate situation of redundancy. But it was good to get that out because there's loads of people who are in a similar position. But as creators, we've gone through so many different, not just our own jobs and our creative paths, but we also gone through other jobs to lead us to where we are today. We've done jobs that have nothing to do with our careers. We've done jobs that have been stressful. So it was interesting for me to go back to those, you could say unfortunate times, but for me, I did learn a lot. I learned a lot what I didn't want to do in a career. I've learned a lot about the direction I wanted to take my career. So I hope that's helpful in episode one because it was helpful for me to talk about those times, even though they weren't the happiest of times. And the second episode, Jeban Nessa, who is a creative director of Beast Mode Media. very inspiring. I'm going to go slightly deeper into behind the scenes kind of topics, what I've been up to, what you've been up to as well. So it's more chilled, more relaxed. So I hope you enjoy those. So this episode, I want to talk about the bold voice, the messy journey, and the zero apology. So tell me, what's your bold voice? What's your messy journey? And what you're unapologetic about? Those are the questions I do ask my guests, and it's been interesting. What does that resonate with you in regards to your creative journey? It's been interesting because a few guests have answered all of those. Focus on one particular part of that question because some people instinctively will know what that means to them. If you've answered those questions, you'll probably find out what really resonates with you most. And more importantly, I think it would probably tell you what kind of creative you really are. Because definitely a lot of us artists do hide behind our work, and that's okay, and it works up to a point. But I do feel that you need to step in front of your work and become more of you, and what will make you more the creative artist that you are. And stop apologizing for what you do and go into doing work that you're feeling more passionate about. At the end of the day, you need to get back to who you are, finding out why you do what you do. It could be a cultural thing, something that you're interested in that nobody really knows about you. So there's loads of aspects you can go about doing it. And so yeah, what is your bold voice? What is your messy journey? And what you're not apologizing about? Because it's interesting. You be really true to yourself and be honest with yourself. Another thing that I find interesting is the behind the scenes kind of questions. We all have this kind of shiny social media appearance, and of course, behind the scenes, we always have that as creators, that drawer, that messy drawer that you don't want anyone to know about. And it was interesting to get to find out what it's like behind the scenes of a creative. And you get to know the real person. And there's some parts that nobody knew about that you would like to discover and that you're itching to tell people about. The messy drawer that nobody knows about of being a creative. I got some really interesting answers. So I was doing some research. I was curious to see what the AI was going to say what a creatively eccentric is. So I'm going to just quick read it out to you. Creatively eccentric describes someone who is unconventional and original in their behavior, often linked to creativity, genius, and high intelligence. This can manifest as unusual habits, personal rituals, or a disregard for social norms, which may be seen as a positive expression of a unique mind rather than a negative trait. Yeah, that's been interesting because it's also saying that we're intelligent, we're not just quirky. It's been fascinating to hear what the chat GPT or the AI has come up with what a creatively eccentric is. So there's so many different variations of being a creative. It'd be interesting to find out what you think a creative eccentric is. Let me know, and we can have that discussion and maybe we get some ideas going. Yeah, running a podcast. Yeah, I've been actually waiting around the first 3 months, beginning of this year, waiting for the trademark. What do you think of the name, by the way? It's something that I liked. I was going to a community design event and trying to get in the habit of actually talking about the podcast. That's going to be different for me. When someone asked me, "So, what do you do?" and I said, "I'm a graphic designer, and also I'm starting a podcast," and it's been very positive. So it does seem to be an interesting topic to discuss. And what is the topic I hear you say? It's underrepresentation and also people who are unapologetic about being a creative and who they are and how they communicate themselves with their work. I've always been fascinated with how designers, entrepreneurs, business people, thought leaders who are in the creative space might not be painting or drawing themselves, but they work in that industry or they're around people who are in that industry. And to be honest, I think a lot of people who don't think they're creative are creative, like brain surgeons, mathematicians, people who are not on the traditional path of creativity are creative. If you're problem solving, you're creative. I would love to get to tell your story. I would love to hear it. There's different ways you can do that. You could leave a message or leave a review. You can talk to me on Instagram at Creatively Eccentric, or you can leave a message at info@creativelyeccentric.com. All the information in the show notes.